after screaming that I was a F***king failure who should have never been born. My mother sent me a Venmo request for $2,400 captioned for your brother's graduation party pay fast when I asked if I was even invited. She replied, "Don't be **ing delusional." Then my uncle called, said if I didn't pay by midnight, they'd all block me forever. I just said, "Do it, I'll block you first." That night I smiled, because that's when I started planning something they'd never recover from. So I guess this is the first time I've ever posted something like this, but I'm honestly just sitting here in my apartment, still kind of shaking, and I need to get this out. I'm not even sure if this is the right sub. But whatever, I need to vent and maybe get some advice. Or just IDK validation. Or maybe just to see if I'm actually losing it. Or if this is as nuts as it feels anyway. This all started with a Venmo request. Not even a text. Not a call. Just a random Venmo request from my mom. For $2,400 with the caption, "For your brother's graduation party, pay fast." Not even a, "Hey, can you help out?" Or, "We're all chipping in." Just straight up pay fast. I literally laughed when I saw it. Because it was so out of nowhere I hadn't even talked to her in like a month. Maybe more last time we spoke. She was already pissed at me for not coming home for Easter. But I had my reasons. Long story. Not even worth it. So for context, my family's always been kind of IDK. I guess traditional is the word. But not in a cute way. My little brother Remington. Yeah, that's his real name. Don't even start is the golden child. He's 3 years younger, just graduated college, and my mom acts like he's the second coming. I'm the older one, but I never really fit the mold. I didn't go to the same school as everyone else. In the family, didn't join the same clubs, didn't date the right people, whatever. I moved out at 20, paid my own rent, did my own thing. I'm not some wild rebel, I just didn't want to be a clone of my Uncle Roger or whatever. But to my mom, that basically means I'm a failure. She said it to my face more than once, but this time was next level. So I see the Venmo request, and I'm like, is this a joke? I text her just, am I even invited to this party? Because I haven't heard a word about it. I know, they're doing something big, because Remington's been posting about it on his stories, but I never got an invite, not even a group text. I'm not even in the family group chat anymore. They kicked me out last year after some drama with my cousin Tegan. Again, long story. Not the point she doesn't reply for like an hour. Then I get this wall of text, just her going off. She says, I'm a **ing failure who should have never been born. That I'm selfish. That I owe the family for all the trouble I've caused. And that the least I can do is pay for my brother's party since I'd never show up for anything. Or she says I'm not invited and that I shouldn't be. And next, delusional enough to think I would be. She says if I don't pay, I'm dead to her, like actually says that. I just stared at my phone for a while, not even mad at first, just tired, I guess, like. This is just how she is. She's always been like this, especially since my dad left. I think she blames me for that, even though I was like 15 when it happened. She's always needed someone to be the scapegoat. And I'm the only one who doesn't just roll over and take it. I didn't reply. I just left it on read. I figured whatever, she'll cool off, or maybe she'll just forget about it. But then, like an hour later, my Uncle Roger calls me. I almost didn't pick up, but I was curious. He's always been the enforcer in the family, the one who steps in when my mom wants to make a point. He starts off all fake nice, asking how I'm doing, if I'm settling in. I moved to a new place a few months ago. Nobody visited. Not even once. Then he gets to the point. He says basically, if I don't pay the money by midnight, the whole family is going to block me, like literally everyone. He says they've all agreed, and that I should think about what kind of son I want to be. He says, if I don't pay, I'll be cut off for good. I ask him, so I'm not even invited? He says, don't make this about you. This is about family. I just hang up. I don't even say anything else. I sat there for a while just staring at my phone. I started getting notifications. Like my cousin Tegan, liking Remington's party posts, my Aunt Bernice commenting, So proud of you on everything, just the usual family circle jerk. I started to feel that old thing. Like maybe I should just pay it just to keep the peace. But then I thought, why? What do I get out of it? I'm not even invited. I'm not even wanted. I'm just a wallet to them. I've always been the one who bails people out, who covers the bill when someone forgets their card, who helps out when Remington needs a new phone or whatever. I've never gotten a thank you, just more demands. So I did something I've never done before. I blocked my mom. I blocked my uncle. I blocked Remington Tegan, Bernice, all of them. I just went down the list and blocked every single one. I even blocked the family group chat, even though I'm not in it anymore. Just for good measure. I felt not good exactly, but like lighter. Like I finally did something for myself. Then like 10 minutes later, I get a knock on my door. I'm not even kidding. I look through the peephole and it's my neighbor. Not my family, thank God. She just wanted to borrow my vacuum. I let her in and she's like, "Are you?" "Okay, you look pissed." Wow. I just laughed and said, "Family stuff, she gets it." She's got her own drama. We talk for a bit and she leaves. I sit back down and I start thinking. I start thinking about all the ways I've helped them out over the years. All the times I've covered. For Remington, all the times I've paid for stuff and never got paid back. I start thinking about the family phone plan, the streaming accounts, the group payments for stuff like the beach house last summer, which I never even got to use. BTW, I start thinking about how my name is still on a bunch of stuff because I was the only one with decent credit when I was 21 and everyone else was broke. I start thinking about how they just expect me to keep paying to keep showing up even when they treat me like garbage. And I start to get mad. Like really mad. Not just at them, but at myself. For letting it go on this long. I start making a list, just on my phone, of everything I'm still tied to. Every account. Every payment. Every bill. I start thinking about what would happen if I just stopped. If I just pulled out. Let them deal with the mess. I start thinking about how much they actually rely on me. Even though they act like I'm nothing. I'm not saying I have a plan yet. But I'm done being the family punching bag. I'm done paying for people who don't even want me around. I'm done letting them make me feel like I owe them something just for existing. I'm not going to just walk away though. I'm going to make sure they feel it. I'm going to make sure they remember what happens when you push someone too far. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. I don't know what's going to happen next, but I'm not backing down. Not this time. If you've read this far, thanks. I'll update if anything else happens. I have a feeling this is just getting started. Update 1. So I didn't sleep much after that whole mess. Not that I expected to. I kept thinking about that Venmo request and the way my uncle tried to make it sound like I was the one being dramatic. GL, I was half expecting to wake up and see a bunch of missed calls or some apology text, but nah, just silence. I guess they really thought I'd cave and send them money. Or maybe they were just waiting to see if I'd crack first classic anyway. I started my morning like normal, made some coffee, scrolled through my phone, tried to ignore the group text popping up from friends about random stuff. But then I noticed something weird. My Spotify logged me out, not a big deal, but it's the family plan and I'm the one who set it up years ago. I check the account and see that my mom changed the password. I just laughed like, wow, that's the move. Fido. After all that, you're going to lock me out of the music, petty, but whatever. But it got me thinking. I started going through my notes from last night, just looking at all the stuff I'm still tied to. It's honestly wild how much of their life is still running through me. I'm not even talking about the streaming stuff. I mean the real stuff. Group payments, deposits the venue for Remington's party. I remembered that when they booked the place, they needed someone with a good enough credit score to put down the deposit, and guess who they called me? I did it because my mom said it was just temporary, and she'd handle the rest. That was like 6 months ago. I never got taken off. I checked my email, and sure enough, I'm still listed as the main contact for the venue. So I called the venue. I just said I needed to confirm the details for the event, and the lady on the phone was super chill, just asked for my name and the date. I asked if my name was still on the contract, and she said, yeah, I'm the primary. I asked if I could remove myself, and she said, As long as the other party signs off, it's no problem. I said I'd get back to her. I didn't want to tip my hand yet, but now I knew for sure. I started going through my bank app, looking at all the group payments I've made for family stuff. There's a bunch last summer's beach house, the deposit for the party, even some old stuff for Remington's car insurance. I realized I'm still paying for his roadside assistance, which is honestly hilarious. I texted him just, "Hey, you might want to get your own coverage, I'm canceling mine." See, he left me on Reed Classic Remington. I started pulling out of everything I can on the roadside. I took my name off the group payment for the party decorations, which LOL, I never even agreed to in the first place, and I emailed the venue again. This time, ceasing my mom and uncle just saying, I'd like to be removed from the contract, and that I'm not responsible for any further payments, I kept it super dry.
No drama, just facts. About an hour later my phone starts blowing up. First it's my mom, then my uncle, then Remington. I don't answer, then I get a text from my Aunt Bernice, who's always been the peacemaker but really just likes to stir the pot. She says I'm being selfish and that I'm ruining Remington's big day. I reply, just I'm not paying for a party I'm not invited to. She sends back a paragraph about family obligations and how I'm hurting everyone. I just mute her. Then out of nowhere I get a DM from one of Remington's friends, Kelsey. She's like, hey, is everything okay? Your mom posted something weird on Facebook about you. I check and sure enough my mom's posted some vague status about certain people who don't care about family and how some people only take never give. I don't even bother responding. I just screenshot it and send it to my group chat with my friends, who immediately start roasting her uncle. That made me feel a little better, but then things get messy. My uncle shows up at my apartment. I hear him before I see him, just banging on the door like he owns the place. I open at a crack and he tries to push his way in. I block him with my foot and tell him to. Chili starts going off about how I'm embarrassing the family and how I owe them for everything they've done for me. I tell him I'm not paying for a party I'm not even invited to, and he gets in my face like actually knows Thanos. I tell him to back up and he shoves me. I shove him back harder. He stumbles and slams his hand against the wall. He starts yelling and my neighbor comes out into the hall just watching. I tell my uncle to leave or I'll call the building manager. He slams the door on his way out. I sit down shaking a little but mostly just pissed. I text my landlord just to give him a heads up in case my uncle tries anything. He says he'll keep an eye out. I start thinking about what else I can do. I remember that the party is supposed to be this weekend and they're probably scrambling now that I've pulled out. I check my email again and the venue has already replied saying they need a new primary contact or they'll have to cancel the booking. I forward it to my mom and uncle. No comment. Then I get a call from Remington. I almost don't answer, but I do just to see what he'll say. He starts off all fake nice, asking if I'm okay and if I really want to do this. I tell him I'm not paying for his party and he says I'm making a scene. I ask him if he even wanted me there and he just goes quiet. Then he says, Mom said you'd pay. You always do. I just hang up. I start getting texts from random family members, some siding with me, some saying I'm being dramatic. My cousin Tegan sends me a DM saying she gets it but that I should just let it go. I tell her I'm done letting it go. I post a screenshot of the Venmo request with the caption blurred out to my close friends on Instagram just to get it off my chest. People start messaging me saying they had no idea my family was like this. I don't even care about the drama at this point. I just want people to know I'm not the bad guy. Later that night my mom calls. I let it go to voicemail. She leaves this long rambling message about how I'm tearing the family apart and how I'll regret this. I delete it. I'm not going back. I end the day by making a list of everything else I can pull out of. I'm not just cutting them off, I'm making sure they feel it. I'm not paying for anything else. I'm not covering for anyone. I'm not letting them use me as their backup plan. I'm done. I know this probably sounds petty to some people, but I don't care. I'm not going to let them walk all over me anymore. I'm not just walking away. I'm making sure they know exactly what they lost. I'll update if anything else happens. I have a feeling this is just the beginning. Update too. So I thought after the last round of drama maybe they'd back off for a second, but nah, if anything it got weirder. I woke up to like 6 missed calls from my mom, 2 from my uncle, and a bunch of texts from Remington all in the span of an hour. I didn't answer any of them. I just sat there eating cereal watching the texts come and it was all the same stuff. How could I do this? I'm ruining everything. I'm selfish, blah blah. I just muted the thread and went about my day, but then I noticed something off. I got a notification from my bank app about a charge I didn't recognize. It was for party supplies, like a big order, and it was on my old credit card. I haven't used that card in months, but I never took my mom off as an authorized user. I guess I just forgot, or maybe I didn't want to deal with the fight, but now she's using it for the party, just assuming I'd pay and not notice that was it for me. I called the bank, disputed the charge, and froze the card. I texted my mom, just don't use my card again. She didn't reply. I started thinking about how much they actually depend on me, not just for money but for like everything. I remembered the venue still needed a new primary contact and I hadn't heard anything from them. I checked my email and there was a message from the venue manager saying they still hadn't gotten a new contact and if they didn't by the end of the day they'd have to cancel the booking. I forwarded it to my mom and uncle. No comment. I could just picture them scrambling trying to figure out who could step up. I know for a fact my uncle's credit is trash and my mom's isn't much better. Remington's never even had a real bill in his name. I started getting texts from my Aunt Bernice, who's now in full guilt trip mode. She says I'm tearing the family apart and that I should think about how this looks to everyone. I reply, maybe you should think about how it looks to demand money from someone you just called a failure. She leaves me on read, then out of nowhere Remington calls. I answer just to see what he'll say. He starts off all calm, but I can tell he's pissed. He says I'm making things harder than they need to be and that I should just pay and move on. I ask him if he even wants me at the party and he says it's not about that, it's about family. I tell him I'm not paying for a party I'm not invited to and he just sighed. Then he says, Mom said you'd pay, you always do. I tell him not this time. He hangs up. I start thinking about how to really make them feel it. I remember that I'm still on the group payment for the caterer, so I log in and remove my card. I email the caterer, CC my mom and uncle and say I'm not responsible for any payments. I keep it short, just facts. I know this is going to mess up their plans, but I don't care. They made their bed. Later that day I get a call from the venue. The manager says they still don't have a new contact and if they don't by tomorrow the booking is off. I say that's not my problem anymore. She says she understands, but she sounds annoyed. I get it, it's not her fault. Then around dinner time my mom shows up at my apartment. I hear her before I see her, just banging on the door. I open it a crack and she tries to push past me. I block her with my arm. She starts yelling, saying I'm destroying the family and that I'll regret this. I tell her to leave. She slaps me. I just stand there. She starts crying, but it's that fake crying she does when she wants something. I tell her again to leave. She slams the door. On her way out I sit down. Just tired. I text my landlord again just to let him know. He says he'll keep an eye out. I start thinking about what else I can do. I remember that Remington's car insurance is still tied to my account, so I call and remove myself. I text him, get your own insurance. He doesn't reply. Then I get a DM from Kelsey, Remington's friend. She says people are talking about the party maybe being cancelled and asks if I know what's going on. I just say ask my mom. She says she heard some people might not come if there's no food or venue. I just say not my problem. I start getting texts from random family members, some saying I'm being cruel, others saying they get it. My cousin Tegan says she's on my side but she's not getting involved. I get it, nobody wants to be in the middle of this mess. Then late that night I get a call from my uncle. He's drunk. I can tell. He starts yelling, saying I'm ruining everything and that I'll never be welcome again. I tell him I don't care. He says I'll regret this for the rest of my life. I hang up. I end the night by making a list of everything else I can pull out of. I'm not just cutting them off, I'm making sure they feel it. I'm not paying for anything else, I'm not covering for anyone, I'm not letting them use me as their backup plan. I'm done. I know this probably sounds harsh to some people, but I don't care. I'm not going to let them walk all over me anymore. I'm not just walking away, I'm making sure they know exactly what they lost. I'll update if anything else happens. I have a feeling this is just the beginning. Final update. So I thought the last update was the peak, but honestly the way this all played out was just, I don't even know. It's like watching a slow motion car crash, except you're the one who cut the brakes and you're not even sorry. I know that sounds harsh, but after everything I'm not going to pretend I feel bad. I'm just tired and jingle a little satisfied. The first weird thing was how quiet it got, like after my mom showed up and slapped me after my uncle's drunk call after I pulled my card from the caterer in the venue. It was just nothing, no calls, no texts, not even a passive-aggressive Facebook post. I figured they were regrouping or maybe just hoping I'd cave if they ignored me long enough, but I wasn't about to blink. First, then 2 days before the party I get a call from the venue manager. She says the booking's officially cancelled since nobody stepped up to take over the contract or pay the balance. She sounds annoyed but not surprised. I just say thanks for letting me know. I check my email and see a string of messages from my mom and uncle, all sent in the middle of the night, all basically begging me to fix it. I don't reply, I just archive them. The next day I get a text from Remington. It's the first time he's messaged me directly since this all started. He says the party's off, people are pissed, and he wants to know if I'm happy now. I just reply, you should have thought about that before you tried to use me. He leaves me on red. I start hearing from people I haven't talked to in years. My Aunt Bernice calls, says she's disappointed in me, that I let the family down. I tell her I'm not paying for a party I wasn't even invited to. She says I should have just done the right thing. I hang up. My cousin Tegan texts, says she's sorry things got so ugly, but she's not picking sides. I tell her she already did. Then the day the party was supposed to happen I get a knock on my door. It's my neighbor again, asking if I'm okay because she saw my mom in the hallway earlier looking upset. I just say family stuff and she nods. We talk about the weather for a minute, then she leaves. I scroll through my phone, see Remington's friends posting about change of plans and party can let. I almost feel bad, but then I remember the Venmo request, the insults, the way they all just expected me to pay up and shut up. Later that night I get a call from a number I don't recognize. I let it go to voicemail. It's my uncle again, saying I'm dead to the family and that nobody wants anything to do with me. I block the number. I get a Facebook message from my mom, just a single line, you'll regret this. I block her too. The fallout isn't just online though. I hear from a couple of my old friends who are still in touch with some of the family. Apparently my mom tried to get a last-minute venue but nobody would take her without a deposit. The caterer refused to show up without payment. Remington tried to throw something at a friend's house but half the people bailed. I guess word got around about what happened because a few people deemed me, saying they had no idea my family was like that. I just say yeah, me neither, until now. I start getting bills in the mail for stuff I never agreed to, party supplies, decorations, even a bounce house rental. I call every company, tell them I'm not responsible, send them copies of the emails where I pulled out. Most of them are chill, just say they'll go after whoever signed the contract. I know my mom and uncle are going to be dealing with that for a while. I get a text from Remington, just one word, thanks. I don't reply. I spend the next week just living. I go to the gym, hang out with friends, watch dumb shows. I don't check my family's socials. I don't answer unknown numbers. I start to feel like I can breathe again, like I'm not waiting for the next demand or guilt trip. Then out of nowhere I get a letter in the mail. It's from my mom. It's not an apology, obviously. It's just a list of everything she thinks I owe the family, all the ways I've let them down. I read it once, then toss it in the trash. I guess the real kicker is nobody's come to my door since. No more surprise visits, no more yelling in the hallway, no more Slaps or shvees, it's just quiet. I know some people would say I should feel bad or try to fix things, but I don't. I did what I had to do. I'm not their backup plan anymore. I'm not their wallet. I'm not their scapegoat. If they want to block me forever, fine, I'll block them first. I know this isn't some perfect ending. I'm not magically healed. I'm not suddenly happy. I'm just done, and honestly that's enough for me. If you made it this far, thanks for reading. I don't know if I'll ever talk to them again, but I know I'm not going back, not after this.